Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of CityZilla Plays City Skylines. And in this episode we are going to be addressing some train issues we are having. On the last episode we built out that new cargo ship harbor, and it was great, high functioning, helped out our road traffic tremendously. And then the only problem left that we had was with our trains. There was a couple key mistakes we made, and so let's go ahead and jump out of this. And so we had kind of created this connection just because I wanted it not underground. And so I was like, we'll throw this in and we'll come back and check on it. And so we are now coming back and it is not working. And so if we go ahead and zoom out, we can see that this harbor has now caused the entire line to back up. And so both of these lines, like this train, can't pass because this train has block the intersection, and then same with this one as well. And this is one of those kind of frustrating things about this game, because if this were real life, I'm sure that there would be some sort of system in place to where this train would never block this intersection like this. But it also kind of leans to this, and so I think what we're going to do first is just delete this. Because this is an underground section, I really don't know what we can do to make it better short of what we're going to do right now. And so we're just going to move the connection back a little bit, and this is kind of just creating more problems in the future, and so we are definitely going to have to check this to see if it does work or not. And so the big thing is that now it is a little further back, and then I'm actually going to go into the junctions tool and get out of that, and we are going to change the junctions if it will let me. Get off that. Come on. There we go. And so I'm just going to put these stop signs in. I'm not really sure that they do anything, but they do put a little light there. And so what I'm hoping is that maybe they won't block the intersections to where they'll wait, or because I mean, even if this train was further back, it would still be blocking this way. So there's really not a whole lot they can do. It's more when trains are coming out, it would be better for them to just stop. And so what I was thinking is we could just go piece by piece and try to identify the issues and then just work on individual intersections. In the past, though, I've seen other creators actually delete the entire system. And so one of the biggest problems we have is that our cargo and our inner city are intermingled. And so you see all these little red trains. These are trying to get here to our main little tourist kind of central station. And what's happening is they're having to run on the same lines as our cargo. And now that we have a ton of cargo in our city, so we have the cargo airport hub, we have the cargo ship harbor hub, then we have the other cargo airport, then we have two cargo rail lines right here, then we have a cargo rail line right there. And so what happens is they actually use the rail for inner city transportation instead of putting it on a truck and driving. And this is actually good. It takes the trucks off our highways, takes the truck off our little roads, and so it really does help out traffic a lot. But then what it does is it moves it to our rail lines, and so then we just have to optimize this. And so I think what we can do is separate it all, and it's going to be really smart, and we'll probably create some more connections, because we had put in this line here because we didn't have this square, and now that it is unlocked, we could theoretically just branch this off here and have it connect up there, and it would just create a little more access for if a train was trying to come from that direction, they wouldn't have to come all the way down here. And then I think we will end up keeping this line. I think what we're going to do is just work on this main arterial, and then probably this intersection right here, and then we'll probably cut it all the way back here. And so what I want to do is we'll probably keep this line exactly the way it is, but we'll come in here and we will delete all this. We're just going to move it all. Yeah, I think if we do that, and then we will move this back, we'll get rid of this guy. And so what I'm thinking is we'll probably do a parallel train road next to this, and we'll have this meet up with it. And so we'll probably actually have like 3 rail lines running through this section, and I think we're gonna end up doing it like that because it's gonna work out really well for our purpose. And so I think what we might do is make this into a tunnel. I think that would be smart. Because then we don't have to worry about the train and the train clearing it or not. I think that would be good. And so we'll come over here and just choose a basic 6-lane road. And we'll come in here. Is that 90? Don't know. Yeah, it is. And there you go. And then we will do the same thing over here. We'll just cut it down. And then let's see about using the network multi-tool for this. I'm not really sure how it does with... Oh, there you go. It actually does underground pieces pretty well. So yeah, if we do that, we'll move the curves out just a little bit, because I think that would be smart. No, no need for that. You know, because then at least the curves aren't right away. It's a little safer. Oh, nice, and it, of course, didn't put it underground, but that's alright. We will go in and lower it. We can actually just delete that and go in and do it ourselves. I was really hoping that was going to make it a tunnel piece, but I think because of the differing elevations, it just made it come above ground for that little section. So we're probably just going to have to lower this down. I'm surprised it didn't cut above. It's weird. You know what, that's better anyways, because then it's kind of a swooping curve. Driving through that big tunnel would be a little safer, but then it opens up this entire area for us to kind of play around with. And so I think we will back this all the way up, and we'll remove this guy. And so our big problem with this is that we need to create a way for inner-city trains coming from this direction to somehow turn around and then come into that guy. And so we had made that kind of big swooping turnaround before, and I think that would still work. We just need to figure out a way to get the lines in with it. And so I want to go in and paint that parallel road, just because I know it's going to kind of be difficult, and we are definitely going to have to use eminent domain a little bit. And so we will first off change this guy. This is terrible. It's kind of funny. This is one of the original maps with the game. What's going on? It's stuck a little bit. One of the original maps with the game, and so you can kind of see where they weren't super great at designing maps at that time, which is alright. I mean, you know, it's kind of like starting out the game. So I think we will go like this and curve this guy up, and then we'll come over here and do the same thing. And then that way we can actually split it up to where they both kind of come in at the same point. We just got to make sure that they are still connected, and they are. Okay, and so what I'm thinking, we definitely need access to that road, and so it would be good for us to have our splitting road come from right here. Maybe we will actually, because it'd be nice if I just did the road all the way down, but there's really no point. It's not back here that gets congested, it's at the points. And so, and it wasn't even really this intersection so much, it's just further down. So maybe if we go, we'll want to go on the left. So yeah, maybe if we just create a little intersection. I don't know how I feel about that, but that could work. Okay, and so we got to our first cutoff, and I believe this is another section that we want to provide access. Yes, it is. And so what we could do, I don't really like how this looks, but I think because of the freeways, this is really all we really could do. And it doesn't look like we're necessarily having problems with this intersection. And so maybe what we'll do, maybe we'll cut this up since we need to go up anyways. Just gonna be spaghetti mess. I want to try to make it look as professional as I can, but I'm not an engineer, and so I'm not entirely certain how these would look. But I think that's so tall. I wasn't planning on going that tall. We're just gonna lower it down to the... You know what? That might actually be needed for over here. Yeah, we'll keep it at that. It's much taller than I was thinking, but I think it's gonna work for our purposes, so... So our alternative is to have this go underground, or if we were on the other side. You know what, I think if we went to the other side it'd be good. Yeah, you know what, because this bridge anyways has clearance on that side, and we want to be on this side anyways, so maybe we will use this as an opportunity to cut across. Yeah, there you go. This curve's not great, but... So then what we'll do is actually create separate connections for this. You know what? I think we can actually get away without it going up. I think we'll just bring it farther back. Yeah, that could be smart. Because then this way we can just... Yeah, there we go. And of course it's not connected. And perfect. It's a little close to this guy. I think we will just move this over a smidge. There you go. And so it doesn't look super great, but I mean, this looks okay. I kind of smoothed that out a little bit. It was just a little too bendy. Yeah, there you go. And then this little separation, I think we'll end up coming through and probably putting in some trees and stuff in between there. And then so for this side, we need a connection as well. And so what I'm thinking is we will probably turn this into a bridge piece. And have this slope down. I don't think that could be justified. Not good. Not good. You know what? I think that slope is definitely better. And so I'm going to turn those into bridge pieces. Come in here. Yeah, there you go, look at that. That is definitely a lot better, and then that way I think we can. This is going to be kind of interesting, but I think it's going to work. We'll see. This could be a little too much. How are we going to get it over there? You know, maybe we'll just go off this road. Could also just do a connection right there. Let's see if that works. You know what? I mean, that works. I don't know how I feel about that, but because if all it would take is one train, but we'll see how that works. And then we are going to have to demolish some. And then now we have 2 lines, which is great. And so let's see about moving our cargo line. So if we move this guy back. I think what we'll do is curve this way. Maybe we can just bring it back one more and get that curve naturally instead of forcing it down. Yeah, you know what? I think this looks pretty good. Yeah, there we go. And then that way we can actually just curve this down and then have this meet up. I was hoping it was going to look a little better than that, but you know what? I think that actually looks pretty good. And it did create kind of a weird bridge segment. I think what we'll do is actually smooth this out. I think that piece back there is okay. Yeah, we wouldn't want crazy heights if we don't need it. If we can get away without it, that would be much better. Let's remove all these trees real quick too. We'll come back and put them back in. Just makes it easier if we can see. Yeah, there you go. Now you can see that this one is just way off the ground. Which isn't necessarily bad, but there's no need for it. It would be more expensive to build the bridge pieces, and so it would be better. Better for the taxpayer dollars too. And then so we will probably curve it right before that ledge. I think we'll clean this up just a little bit. Yeah, you know what? I think that looks good. And then it actually provides us a little more space. And so we will come in here and then connect this guy up. There you go. And then come back here. And do the same thing. We just need to make sure there's no pillars. And of course there is one. And there you go. And so now we have a little bit wider access for this area, but then we have room to bring this guy out. And so I want to bring it out just one more, and then what I'm thinking is we'll need, because the access on the other side, we'll need to have a separate rail line. So I think okay, and so we left this room in the middle to be able to cut this up and do another line right here, because we are going to need, it's actually, I want it to be in the middle. There you go. And that's good. And then we will come up here. I think we'll start going up. And then maybe if we start curving right here. Let's actually see what it paints on its own. So then our regular rail line is right there. Yeah, there you go. I think that actually looks pretty good. And you know what's funny is we could have actually done a little guy from the other direction. Maybe we'll do that to just split it up because we can. So maybe we'll... Because then this way on our curve we can actually not even bring this line in since it already has access. Yeah, there you go. And so now these two lines have access to both directions, and so we just need to get these other two. So we'll come up here. Kind of funny. I wonder how engineers actually do all this. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if there was a ton of science to back up a lot of the decisions they make, especially when it comes to traffic hierarchy and stuff like that. And rail lines like this. I don't know how realistic that would be, but I think that's really nice. And so. Okay, so what are we going to do about this turnaround? So it needs to be, so we got this direction already. It needs to be like right here. Yeah, there you go. I think that actually looks pretty good. I don't really like how this turned out, but I don't know if we have too many more options for this area. I think we can smoothen that out. Yeah, you know what? I think that looks okay. So this is definitely a little more complicated than I was originally thinking, but the problem is just the angle for this. Like if this was more perpendicular to the rail lines, then it would have been a little easier for us to just split it. But because of the way that it's situated, it's just not working out that well. And even though we could probably get away with just these two areas over on the far side being for cities on that side of the map, I would like to provide access for all the rail lines. And so we were able to do that, which is good. And then the only thing left we need to do now is actually finish our rail line. Okay, so I think this is going to end up working out pretty well. And so I want to, it's kind of funny, it's on the wrong side of the road. Because we need to connect this guy up, and I don't want it to be before the cargo harbor. And so we will probably have to just cross the road again. It's not the end of the world though. And there we go. And so I think that should solve a lot. So we started off on this side, and we put it right here so that we could provide access to this line up here. And I think that's going to really help out a lot. But the main goal was for us to bypass all of our cargo. And so we still have this pass through for cargo that doesn't want to go that way. But then we actually created, and I think this was a great idea, multiple access points for this. So our passenger rail actually has its own connections. This little crossover is kind of weird, but I think it was probably the best way for us to do that. And then this whole area actually came out pretty good. I don't like the spacing. I think it looks more industrial if you have everything a little closer, but I think it's going to work out for our purposes. So then the last thing I want to do is come over here and actually create that access across that I was talking about. So I think at this little break, this would probably be a good junction. And it's not going to let me, which is alright. So let's see if we can. I really don't want to mess with this, but I think it's going to be the only way. So if I cut that right there. think it's gonna look weird. I don't want it to be all haphazard. No, we'll cut it over here because we don't need both directions. We just need this one direction. Yeah. I think back here would make sense because then we have a nice runway and we can actually make it into a nice little straightaway. We'll start coming up. Just a couple each time so we can get a nice gradual incline. And then now we can come up again. Then we can start going across. And there we go. I think this intersection now is going to provide some pretty good access. And so now we're not going to get anybody cutting across just to come through here. It's only for the cargo hubs. And so if a train wants to come in and then come this way, or if a train wants to come in and go that way, they can take this connection now. And so hopefully it'll actually help to split up some of this traffic. And so I think we are at a point now where we can unpause it. And I do play with despawning. And so I think it's still going to end up deleting some of these trains since there are so many. But a lot of them it's actually going to leave to kind of figure out their own destiny. And so let's just make sure one last time that we got everything hooked up. And this one we just did the underground connection. And we still got some issues over there, and so let's unpause it and just see. Yeah, it did delete most of those trains. Okay, so I let the game run for a little while, and as you can see, we still have a little bit of a backup on our cargo line, and so I want to see, yeah, you know what, it's still all these trains just trying to leave, but a lot of it is having to do with this cargo station down there. It's just such a big area, so I wonder if we just extend this out to allow more trains to queue. That could possibly solve it. Let's see. So I could extend this guy out too. I think I'll do that just is that these are going to get fixed, but it appears as though it's something underground. So let's, yeah, so this train is trying to turn up here, and so we actually, I don't know why this train is so close to that other one, but let's see if maybe we can just move this back a little more. That should hopefully help out. I think once all these trains get moving, then it's gonna help out quite a bit. It would be smart if we... You know what, let's put this guy on the opposite side. Then ideally trains would still be able to look how steep that hill is though. Let's look at that. Let's try to move that up just a little bit. And you know what? I think we can even move this one up too. Yeah, that's a little better. Move this one down. That's a little better, and so now what I'm hoping is, now that it's on this side, it would really only be trains going in. It's kind of funny, I've done this in the past, but I forget about it quite often, where you know, the trains are on the right side, so if you have the connection on the same side, then ideally it doesn't get blocked as easily. It can still get blocked to through traffic going this direction, but it's not going to get blocked from people coming in, and so it just makes it a little bit better. I don't know if that train's gonna, yeah, he is. And so this is definitely something that I should have probably thought about before, but now we got it, and so that should ideally see like how that train's technically blocked that connection, and if it was on the other side then it would be blocked, and so I think maybe this is gonna clean this up. Oh, these trains having some issues. I think we need to delete this one. Yeah, there you go. And this one, I mean, this would be a huge train catastrophe. Yeah. I don't know if he's gonna fix himself. He normally should, but because despawning's off, he might just be stuck. I mean, if we had road connections, there'd probably be police everywhere, fire department. I mean, they'd be rescuing all these people. This would be a huge thing. For some reason, this train was going too fast down here, and the conductor was in a hurry, and he just flew off the rail. Look at it, it's even disconnected. I wonder if anybody's still in there. Let's see. Yeah, 78 people are just waiting their turn. So we stopped again. I think we are still waiting for... So this side's still having issues. Maybe if we just move them out a little bit. Sometimes if you just slide the connection out a little bit, it allows enough room for more trains to fit in. Come on, guy. You can do it. I think he's waiting on over here. I think this guy might be backwards. Yeah, I'm gonna guess this train is probably... He was still remnants from that other guy. I'm hoping this guy will fix himself. Yeah, there you go. Well, most times they do, but sometimes they don't. And it's funny, I think that whole backup might have just been that one train that was waiting. Because I still wish, I mean, this is really close to this area, so if we could... Yeah, if we could even just move that, like, right there. Look at that. I think we can... Because then it'll allow the train to queue in here without blocking. So let's see. We just need it a smidge farther. Let's see if we can move this guy just a smidge over. Yeah, there you go. You know what? I think that looks pretty good. I just want to move that in. The rail lines can be close to each other, but they need to be far enough. We're not going to cause any problems. Yeah, there you go. And so now we have enough space for a train to queue. And a train to pass. And so now the trains can just wait right there. Yeah, there you go. This guy's a little close. I think it's because when we were painting that down, we had collisions off. So it actually looks like we may have fixed it with that. Allowing that train to queue was super important. Because we have access on this side, and then because of that whole right turn thing, this side never gets blocked. And so Yeah, I think this is probably good. Let's see again. This train blocks. No, he's good. Perfect. And so let's see if we're having any issues right here. You can see this red train is trying to cross. This is a pretty well-traveled route too. That's probably going to end up being a backup for a while, but I think this was the best way we could solve this. It's just it blocks all that traffic. And then let's see, so we're moving. So this one's blocked. This one's blocked still. These are blocked. These guys are coming out. So this one's a similar issue. I think if we just move it a little bit back. So cargo lines. I think maybe if we move this one way back there. Yeah, there you go. And so now it allows trains to queue. So theoretically that should be entirely filled. I'm not sure what those guys are doing. So we're moving. Why are these ones stopped? Are we still jammed over here? Okay, so we're not stopped this way, which is good. I think we're still moving down here. This guy should move here in a second. I think now this could just be regular train traffic. This intersection's not great. I think we're gonna fix this real quick. So originally what we were thinking was to have it come down. We could actually curve it around. I think it's just having that crossover there is going to destroy everything that we pretty much worked for. So I think this right here is going to be good. Fix the slopes. Let's go ahead and unpause it, and once again watch everything kind of crash, but I think it's going to separate the traffic enough to where it's no longer going to be backed up right here, and so I think it's going to be good as this train starts going. Come on, you can do it, little buddy. Still a passenger line on that one. He's still trying to get himself out of there. There's still a couple. Okay, and so this already looks just so much better. It's definitely going to take a little while for all the trains to kind of fix themselves and just get out of the way. Whenever you have a backup like this, especially with despawning off, the trains don't leave, and so it has to work through the whole backup, and it just takes a little while. But I think if we go into our traffic, yeah, it's already, this one's still pretty red, but it's flowing now, and so our traffic fixes from the last episode are still going good. I think we'll definitely have to turn that into a roundabout, but this one's flowing, and you can see, I mean, it's still a backup. This having the trolleys there is just not great. It's kind of funny, we could probably just have it cut in the middle and maybe do a trolley station or a tram station in the middle, but have it off the roundabout, and it probably would work a little better. Back to our trains. Everything's moving, and so I think this new layout is gonna help out quite a bit. I think by adding access, this train's still here. Look at this poor guy. He's just stuck. I think we're gonna have to delete this guy. Yeah, that poor guy was just stuck. This train was waiting for him too. Oh yeah, look at all, they were all just waiting for that one guy. But he couldn't move, he was just stuck on the grass. And so, let's watch this guy. Yep, he's gonna turn off, which is fantastic. And so, I think by separating these lines, it's really going to help out a lot. We still have access for the whole system. But now they just don't have to worry about each other. Now we got trains coming everywhere. I like how it looks when you have all the trains kind of driving through. I think that looks really cool. But let me know in the comments what you think. I know there's a bunch of different solutions for stuff like this. I did work a little bit on this to see what would be best. Some of the areas were just kind of ideas that popped off the top of my head, but I think whenever you get to a city this size, when you start placing the cargo hubs down, this is just a necessary issue that you end up having to face. But I think this is going to end up working. We still have a little bit of a backup, but just because they're behind, and so as these kind of fill out and start emptying, it's gonna fix itself, because now we're moving pretty good now. We don't have too much of a backup. We have a little bit of a backup here, but just from that train that was dead, and then this is our cargo harbor, and so good thing is, I mean, trains are moving out, they're not blocking, and so this should start humming along. I wonder if this train's gonna block it though. No, he didn't. So these trains, yeah. I like how we have the double line in the middle too. I think that looks cool. Let me know in the comments what you think.